We begin with a look at the forecast. We have seen clouds and rain in our area today, but there has been a big development in the tropics as the season's first named storm has formed. So let's check in now with Storm Team 3 Chief Meteorologist Scott Roberts.
Yeah, as far as what we are watching, it is Tropical Storm Arthur that formed just off of the coast of Texas, already back over land. Wind speeds sustained at 45 miles per hour with wind gusts up to around 60 miles per hour. This is not an impressive storm whatsoever. It's very lopsided. Most of the moisture and convective activity is still out over the Gulf, and this will eventually bring a lot of heavy rain to the southeastern U.S., mainly into the deep south, Louisiana, across Mississippi and Alabama, where flooding rain is expected, but all that moisture will be coming in on shore, and that's what we'll be adding to our rain and thunderstorm chances over the next few days into the weekend. It looks like we will still have that spin from that system around the southeast, but really not changing much with our forecast locally. But as far as Viper radar, some pockets of heavy rain setting up, a cluster of thunderstorms developing out into coastal Bryan County, and as we look ahead to the evening, a few more showers and a few more storms are possible. But then for Thursday, scattered showers and storms are expected again, with the potential for a few strong and severe storms. Well, full details on that coming up.
Scott, we'll look ahead. Thank you. Well, leaders in a Georgia State House pushing back against Governor Brian Kemp's effort to redraw congressional and legislative district lines. This comes as a special legislative session gets underway. Some of the lawmakers say they are concerned about how new maps could negatively affect minority voting power across the state. In a letter to Governor Brian Kemp, House Speaker John Burns says lawmakers want more time to fully understand the impact of a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision before moving forward with redistricting. The debate stems from the court's ruling in Louisiana versus Callis, which changed how courts review the U.S. and use of races drawing those congressional districts. So Governor Kemp is saying that he called the special session in part to address Georgia's congressional and legislative maps following that decision. Now, Burns says it is more important for lawmakers to focus on economic issues rather than what he called partisan games. Senator Derek Mallow from Savannah says the decision to press pause on redistricting is a step in the right direction, but he remains cautious.
It is because of all the Savannans, all the folks from South Georgia, Southwest Georgia, Southeast Georgia, North Georgia, the metro areas that descended on the Capitol, prepared to show up and defend voting rights, especially for Black folks. So this promise that you're not going to redistrict, it's not just a promise. It's going to happen. You just won't do it right now, because right now it'll cost you something. It'll cost you an election.
Even though House leaders have put the pause on this decision, Republicans did not rule out revisiting redistricting later this year.
WSAV is your local election headquarters. The ballot for this year's midterm election in Georgia has officially been set. After last night's runoff, we now know the major party nominees for some critical races statewide and locally. In the Republican runoff for governor, businessman Rick Jackson has secured the nomination over Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, 53% to 47%. With his loss, Jones will leave office in January. He said last night that he has enjoyed his time serving the people of Georgia.
I have truly enjoyed serving the people of Georgia. I've enjoyed my time as Lieutenant Governor. I've enjoyed the time I was in the state Senate. And, like I said, public service was something that it's a calling.
Jackson advances to the midterm election this November, where he will be running against Democratic nominee and former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms for the governor's mansion. In a statement, Bottoms slammed Jackson, claiming he is focused on enriching himself, adding Georgians deserve a governor who is focused on ensuring they have every opportunity to thrive and who will fight for them when Donald Trump's reckless policies hurt Georgia. That's what I will do as governor.
Another major GOP race that went to a runoff, the party's nomination for Senate. In that race, Congressman Mike Collins has secured his party's nomination over former football coach Derek Dooley. Collins took home 56% of the vote. That's compared to Dooley's 44%. Well, last night, Collins called for unity in the GOP, saying Republicans have a common mission in this race.
I can tell you one thing. Now, we stand united around one mission. That's right. And y'all know what the mission is. It's to put a Republican in that seat and get rid of that Jon Ossoff in November. Return this seat to the people of Georgia.
In November, Collins will go up against incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff for that Senate seat. In a statement released after the results came in last night, Senator Ossoff railed against his opponent, saying, quote, Collins is a notorious bigot, anti-Semite, and also extremist, currently under federal investigation for the illegal misuse of tax dollars. Collins voted to double health insurance premiums for more than 1 million Georgians for the Iran war and for the Trump tariffs.
On the other side of the ballot, Democrats decided who their nominee would be for Georgia's 1st congressional district. In a tight race decided by just over 1,400 votes, Amanda Hollowell secured her party's nomination over Joyce Griggs. We were able to talk with both candidates as the results came in last night.
The first thing we have to focus on is how to get out to those rural areas, how to talk to those voters, and how to explain why this matters in the moment. But also make sure that we're hearing them and they feel heard. Folks right now have a lot of pain points. They have, they feel abandoned. They feel a void in what folks who are elected officials are listening to them. And I want to fill that void for those folks.
Well, I still thank my supporters for coming out. Okay, and bottom line is I would never stop serving. I've always served, and I will serve in whatever capacity to make sure that I serve the people and that their needs are being articulated and that I can still advocate for their needs. All people.
With Hollowell's win this November, she will be taking on Jim Kingston to represent Georgia's 1st congressional district in the House of Representatives.
Now taking a look at some of the statewide races in the Democratic runoff for Lieutenant Governor, State Senator Josh McLaurin secured the nomination by winning over Nabila Parks. And on the Republican side, at Georgia Lieutenant Governor's race, another state senator, Greg Dolezal, won his party's nomination for Lieutenant Governor over John Kennedy.
Now the runoff for Georgia Secretary of State on the Republican side. State Representative Tim Fleming secured the GOP nomination over Vernon Jones by a wide margin, 65% to 35%. On the Democratic side, for Secretary of State, Judge Penny Reynolds securing the nomination over Dana Barrett, another wide margin, 63 to 37.
Now we go to South Carolina, where the primary runoff election is coming up next Tuesday. Voters are getting a short opportunity to vote ahead of Election Day. Early voting in the state is happening today and tomorrow. The polls are open from 8:30 in the morning until 5 in the evening. You do have roughly an hour left today to vote. Polls will not be open Monday and will be closed Friday, and that's in observance of Juneteenth.
One of the biggest races on the ballot in South Carolina, the Republican runoff for governor. That race features Attorney General Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. They took part in a debate last night highlighting what they're offering as the campaign continues.
A record of delivering results for the state of South Carolina.
The voters of South Carolina will pick from a Trump-endorsed conservative businesswoman or a career politician.
Early voting in South Carolina just today and tomorrow. For more information about this election, you can head to wsav.com/electionhq.
The trial of a man accused of shooting 5 people on Fort Stewart Army Base continues in a military court today. The men who helped subdue Sergeant Cornelius Radford moments after he began shooting took the stand. In this morning's testimony, Sergeant Aaron Turner and Sergeant Michael Boren gave a gripping account of how they tackled and removed the weapon from Radford after he shot 5 people at his workplace August 6th last year. Turner told the court he tried to talk Radford down, telling him it was not worth it. Turner says Radford responded saying this had nothing to do with him and he was not going to after soldiers only command staff. Eventually, Turner was able to disarm Radford when Sergeant Boren grabbed him from behind. Turner added that Radford mentioned all 5 people he shot by name while he was penned down. Both men testified that Radford repeatedly said he wanted to kill himself and even asked military police to kill him. WSCD's Evan Smoke is in the courtroom and he will have a full recap after the proceedings are over for the day.
One woman is dead after a stabbing in Beaufort County. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office responded to a scene of a domestic incident at the Vista View Apartments in Bluffton yesterday. They found 50-year-old Eliza Palacios with multiple stab wounds. She later died at the hospital from her injuries. A 21-year-old man was taken to the hospital for treatment. Officials say they have a warrant for his arrest on charges of murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. We're working to learn more, and anyone with information is asked to call the Sheriff's Office.
Savannah police investigating after 3 people were injured in a shooting last night as several officers responding to the 2000 block of Capitol Street around 10:25 p.m. This after receiving shot spotter reports. Now officials did find 3 victims, 1 man, I should say, 2 women. They all had gunshot wounds. The 3 were taken to the hospital for treatment. No arrests have been made at this time. Now if you saw anything during that time, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. Here's that number for you, 912-234-2020. Or again, that's 234-2020. Chatham County Commissioners are trying to hash out a budget, but the process is not going as smoothly as they had hoped. WSAV's Isley Herschel was at today's budget talks, and she is joining us with a breakdown.
That's right, Tina. Agencies like the Chatham County Sheriff's Office, Probate Court, and Chatham County Transit met with county commissioners today to talk about the money they say they need to operate effectively. The Chatham Area Transit is requesting the most money from the county with more than $42 million in their proposed budget. CAT wants to improve services like paratransit, among others. Officials with the Chatham County's Probate Court say they want money to move some of their part-time staff over to full-time roles. The detention center wants to hire more corrections officers and help update the jail, which was last renovated 15 years ago.
The big problem is that a lot of the equipment that we have is now obsolete. We can't repair them, so we're gonna have to replace them. Doors that we have, that the inmates, we don't have the best clientele. And a lot of them, they want to get out of the cell doors, so they'll bang on them, and we do everything that we can to curtail that. But the technology 15 years ago, and some of that technology goes back more than that. Some of it goes back almost 40 years when we first put the detention center out there. So that's going to be some major issues that we're going to have to look at.
The district attorney's office also requested money to help hire an investigator to work directly with the Child Support Department. The conversation between Chatham County Commissioner Chairman Chester Ellis and the Chatham Area Transit CEO got a little heated. I'm going to have more for that coming up on News 3 at 5. Isley Herschel, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Now, Time Saver Traffic, sponsored by Arrowhead Clinic, the accident doctors, where it pays to get well.
Well, we have some showers and storms developing around portions of the Coastal Empire and the Low Country. This is the view in Jasper County and Hardeeville. You can see the traffic flowing, but it is a little bit slower than normal because of those wet roadways, down to around 35 miles per hour just to the south of that vantage point as you do approach US 17. Otherwise, 95 is flowing pretty smoothly. Other major roadways in the Low Country flowing pretty smoothly as well, including May River Road and 278. 170 looking pretty good as well. Just some minor delays along 95 through that construction zone at Interstate 16, and then again as you head past 204 toward the Ogeechee River Bridge. But otherwise, we're looking pretty good heading out of the city, taking 26 minutes down US 17 to get to Richmond Hill, about 11 minutes to get to Pooler along Interstate 16.